Hi everyone. I'm glad to have you back for our second day of our research project. So today we're going to be talking about research strategies. If you take a look at our screen, our goal today is that you know that to do research, you need to be able to find valid information in print and digital formats. So today our whole day is about how do you know what's the good stuff out there? And how you're going to show me if you meet our goal is that you're going to create a strategies list that's going to help us find those valid answers to your research questions that we proposed yesterday. Now, we'll make the strategies list together at the end after we've gone through a few different exercises and practices that help us understand how to use, especially our electronic resources. But what we practice today will work on print resources as well. You can take a look at our day at a glance. We're going to go back to our Big Six. So today for Big Six, we are on step 2, which is finding information. Yesterday was um, define your task, and your task was what are you researching and what are the big questions? What are you looking for answers for your research? And so we got to go find it, but we want to make sure we're finding good information, not just any information. Because when you're a researcher, you have a responsibility to make sure your information is accurate. We're going to start today by watching a little video that's from a place called Common Sense Media, and this organization does a lot of great media literacy lessons. So we're going to start today with this video called Solomon's Story. All right, so after watching Solomon's experience, I know a lot of you have also gone right to Google as your first stop for finding information on the internet. What things did Solomon do well when he was thinking about his question, who has the record for no hitters? Talk to your partner and we'll come back and we'll share that together. Thanks everybody for taking time to talk to your partner. I want to know and sharing that out with our class. The next question I want us to think about is, what tricks did Solomon use to help make sure that he was getting good information? Let's make a list. So we've talked about how he checked for reliable sources. He knew the National Baseball Hall of Fame sounded credible. He knew that that boy that was in Little League wasn't a credible source. So he used some common sense to put together, oh, the places that I'm getting aren't giving me what I need. And obviously with the pitchers that were the glass pitchers for pouring things were definitely off base. To help us understand how Google works and how we can better use Google, we're going to play a little game called Fetch. There's different rounds to fetch. In round one, here's what you're going to do. You're going to work with a partner to answer the following questions, and you'll get 3 minutes only to answer the questions for each round. So round one, you're going to be using Google. You're allowed only one word for your search to find the answer to this question. Now you can change that word in your 3-minute time frame, but you can't put more than one word into your search. So everybody, are you ready? Let's go. The question is, what foods are toxic to dogs? Go ahead and start to fetch your answer. So I hope you noticed after playing round one that it was a little bit tricky and you had to really think hard for what would be that right word to get you your answer. Let's try fetch again and let's see how much better we do with a different question if we can add a word. So here's round two. You're allowed no more than 4 words to search for the answer to this question. Again, you'll get 3 minutes. What type of dogs are the smartest? Go ahead and fetch. Now that your 3 minutes are up, did you find it easier or harder with more words? I'm glad that you noticed that the more details you're adding to your search, the more likely you are to find your correct answer. Now, how many of you took that extra time to cross-check, just like Solomon did in our video, to see if you're getting the same answer in more than one spot? Great. That's the sign of a researcher. No matter if it's print or digital, anybody can make mistakes in what they've produced. And so we want to make sure that we're always doing that cross-checking and looking in more than one spot. And it went much faster with more words because on Google, when you're more specific, your hits will be more specific and you'll get to your answer faster. Let's try it one more time with round 3. This time I'm not going to have you have any limits on your words. So let's try answering this question and see if you have the extra time to do that cross-checking to see if you can find the same answer in more than one spot. And if you have the time, 3 or 4 spots would be a great start. So your question is, what are the largest and smallest types of dogs? Fetch. Okay, our 3 minutes is up. What did you notice? My big question for you is, how did the number of words affect your ability to find your answers? I'm glad that you noticed that the more specific you are, the faster you'll get your answer, and it's easier to cross-check. And now I want to talk about the endings of websites. Has anybody noticed that there's different kinds of endings? There's this little saying, I want to bring it up on my screen here, called RADCAP. And it's really good for helping check your websites. Once you get into a website, it can look really good, but it might have some mistakes. So once you're into a site that you think has good information, you're going to want to check it. And so RADCAP is a way that you can check it really quickly. The R is for relevancy, and that means, is this going to help me answer my question? Okay? Appropriateness. Is it something you can read? You might get hits out on the internet that are for college level readers or above professionals. And you have to be able to go and search through those things that you can find that make sense to you. So that's the appropriateness. Detail. Does it have the detail you need? Does it cover what you want to know? Or does it just skim the surface but not really answer your question deeply? currency. This is important. As a researcher, we don't want information from 20 years ago, especially if it's science-related material, because science is always changing. We want to make sure we have current information. And for our project and for our purposes, we're going to be looking for resources that are up from the last 5 years. Authority, who's the author? If you remember from our Solomon story example, some kid who's writing a blog about his no-hitters as a Little League player isn't going to be a great authority. But the Baseball Hall of Fame really was a great place to look for the answer to his question about no-hitters. And then bias. Was somebody writing this information to persuade you to do something? If it's asking you to send them money or buy something, then the chances are it's not a great place to go for research. It might be a great place to go buy something, but that's not our purpose. So using these little tips will be helpful when you're checking websites. The next activity I have for you is you're going to use this checklist to go through the following websites and tell me if you think they're valid sources. Go back to our main haiku page. Sorry, I just lost it, guys, but I'll have it right back up. And there's a list of 5 different websites I want you to go over and I want you to try. So remember, we're on lesson 2 for 5th grade, and it's the website Detective. Some of these sites aren't valid and some are. So you're going to use that RADCAB checklist. I'll leave it up on the big screen for you while you go through these sites, and then we'll check your work, and I want you to tell me why you think they are or aren't. All right, guys, you've had your time to work. Let's take a look. Website 1. What'd you think? Oh, I'm glad you came to the conclusion that it's not valid. What clues did you use? You're right. Especially if you've been to Mankato, Minnesota, you know that this is not what it looks like. And as you read the information, you found some really good pieces that just didn't add up. So you're right. This site was not valid. Okay, let's look at site 2. Moonbeam Enterprises. What? You said, oh, because of this piece on the bottom. They're trying to persuade you to order something, and this is not about facts. This is about buying things. So not a great valid place to go for research. Let's see if we have any better luck with website 3. I'm glad you noticed that National Geographic Kids is a resource that we have in our library in print, as well as online. You're right, these are up-to-date stories, so being that they're newer helps us know that they're valid. And it's a credible source. We've heard of National Geographic Kids. Good points, everybody. What do we think of the Tree Octopus website? Wow, it looks really good, doesn't it? Oh, you found the videos on the side. Interesting. So we really have a mixed bag. We might have to look at this one deeper another day because some of you are saying that it's valid and some of you are saying that it's not valid. We'll explore that more later. Let's look at website 5. NASA. Oh, you noticed the .gov ending. Great. And you've heard of NASA before. Oh, you know it's a reliable place. It is our country's aeronautics specialists. You have a lot of really good points to why this is a valid site. Well, guys, we made it through our lesson today. Let's talk about what are the strategies you learned for researching on Google. Great. Being more specific is helpful. Yes, using RADCAB is a really important checklist of sorts to check to make sure what you're using is valid. There are lots of different things on the internet, so you have to be careful and you have to be responsible about finding the right things. If you ever need some more help deciding, we have a checklist that you can use when you do your sites, but you can use RADCAB as well. I think you guys did a great job with our lesson today. Look forward for tomorrow when we move on in research and start using these strategies to answer your questions.